Hi, this is Bryan.D with the final sprint video for Game Engine 1. So let's just dive right in. So I'm going to start out with showcasing the demo, and then we're going to look at the main game class, and then go in from there, basically down the checklist as it goes. So yeah, so right now we're just building. Build succeeded. Here it is. Here's the demo. Oh, there. Okay, that worried me for a second. As we can see, the house is the enemy. It's moving around, goes around in random, and if we move towards it, it shoots. I wasn't able to quite figure out the angle between the two, but we can destroy it, and if we run into it, we actually take damage. And if you run into it enough, it always spawns in the same spot. So if you run into it enough, we can see the lives counter down at the bottom left with our stitches. That was at 3, now it's at 2. So yeah, basically acts like a tank. As we can see, we don't have the visualizer on right now. I think I might turn that on a little bit later in the demo when I showcase that. But basically, this is it. This is the demo. Yeah, so there we go. One knife. Okay. So I'll go into the actual demo code really quick just to show what features that showcases. What it showcases is basically everything. And let's go into the spaceship.cpp, for instance, and spaceship.h. So this class showcases the updatable, drawable, inputable, collidable, not the alarmable, but the player bullet does. So we can go into the .cpp and just look to see how these things are, how a user would interact with these features. As we can see, we submit entry, and then through a command pattern, which we'll see later, we get to scene entry. We register the update with the scene, register the draw with the scene, register the collision with the scene, and then we register all the controls with the scene. Opposite for exit, we deregister everything. Collision, pretty standard, we just take a hit from health. So respawn, that's just basic variables for respawning. Collision with house, we take double the amount of damage as we move the bullet, because you're colliding into another tank, you're going to take more damage. Here's our update. So we can see time manager. That's the only way to get time in the game, is to time manager, get frame time. There's also a few other methods in time manager we'll look at later. And then this is how you move, update collision model data, and then setting the camera to follow the player. Now we'll look at the draw function. As we can see right here, it's a very short call for render. It was done because of last sprint. You had told me that the thing was getting out of hand, and it was. It was like all the way out to like here. So I shortened it up with a wrapper in the game object. So now whenever the user wants to get current 3D cam or get current 2D cam, they can just say get current 3D cam, get current 2D cam. And then here we see the visualizer getting called. I didn't have the show function on, or the show boolean on right now, but we'll show that a little bit later when we showcase the collision system itself. Now we see the key released function, key pressed function. Pretty standard. So now we'll go into the player bullet. As we can see here, we've got an alarmable. Now how we do that is, if I can find where I put it. So in the scene entry, for at least the bullet, I submit alarm registration destroy timer, And then when the alarm goes off, it submits exit. That's for if you miss the tank and the bullet's going off into the distance. The enemy has a similar thing. We're in the house now, the house.cpp, but it has it for reload time. So it doesn't do it until in its update function for firing, and then it turns it to fire true. So that's for reload time when it can fire again. Yeah, so now let's look at the base game class. So as we can see on the left, we have the game.h. Because of the Doxygen documentation, it's got a lot of comments. We're going to see these comments a lot in my .h files because I wanted to keep them kind of contained to the .h's because normally most of the work's done in the .cpp's. So I like to have a more clear area. Sorry, I'm a bit sick. So as we can see, a few functions here. Set game window name, set game window size, height, or get height, get width, set background color, the float for game time, run game, end game, initialize, load all resources, which basically all this does is call load resources in the resource manager, initialize the game, load content, update, draw, unload content. Yeah. So now let's look at the .cpp for this, see what these things are actually doing. That's accessing the base Azul functions. Actually, it's accessing the DG function right here, setting the game window name, background color, that kind of stuff, which the user can do in a different area, but I do it here because I don't need to. I don't need to set it in a different area if I'm just going to have my defaults, and these are my defaults right here. Load content, as I said, get all resources. Well, load contents, load all resources, so they can't access the load all resources. Update, ticks the time manager frame, updates the scene. Draw, just draw scene. Game time, get time in seconds. Unload content is end scene. This game time's only used in the freeze frame time manager times. Okay, so I think I'm going to end this video here and then start up another video going into some more engine-based things.